Chapter 1. The Beginning of a New Chapter. It had been exactly 1 year since the birth of their daughter, Emily. Sarah sat at the dining table, sipping her coffee while glancing at the clock. The morning light filtered through the kitchen curtains, casting a soft glow on her tired face. Despite the exhaustion that came with being a new mom, there was a warmth in her heart, a feeling that hadn't left her since the first time she held Emily in her arms. Yet something had shifted between her and John, her husband of 4 years. The whirlwind of sleepless nights, diaper changes, and constant feeding schedules had consumed their lives. Their once effortless conversations were now fragmented by cries from the baby monitor. The romance that once sparked spontaneously between them had been replaced with the practicality of parenting. John walked into the kitchen, dressed for work. His eyes met Sarah's, and for a brief moment, there was a flicker of the connection they used to share. But it passed quickly as he grabbed his coffee and kissed her on the forehead. "Everything okay?" John asked, noticing the faraway look in her eyes. "Yeah, just thinking," Sarah replied with a soft smile. "I've been thinking a lot about how things have changed since Emily was born." John sighed, leaning against the counter. "I know. It feels like we barely have time for each other anymore. I miss us." "I miss us too," Sarah said, her voice almost a whisper. They stood there for a moment in silence, both of them thinking about the days when their love was the center of their world. But now, everything revolved around Emily, as it should. They loved her more than anything. Yet in the process of becoming parents, they had forgotten how to be husband and wife. Chapter 2. The Strain of Parenthood. As the weeks passed, the distance between Sarah and John became more noticeable. Little arguments started cropping up over things that never mattered before: who forgot to wash the dishes, who left the laundry in the dryer too long, or who was more tired. One evening, after putting Emily to bed, Sarah found herself sitting alone on the couch. John was working late again, a common occurrence lately. She scrolled through old photos on her phone, landing on a picture from their honeymoon in Hawaii. They looked so happy, so in love, completely carefree. Tears welled up in her eyes as she realized how far away those days felt. When John finally came home, it was past midnight. Sarah was still awake, waiting for him. She watched him take off his shoes and set his briefcase down before he even noticed she was sitting there in the dimly lit room. "Hey, you're still up?" he asked, sounding surprised. "I wanted to talk," she said, her voice steady but vulnerable. John sat down next to her, rubbing his temples. "It's been a long day, Sarah. Can it wait?" "No," she said, a bit more firmly than she intended. "It can't." John looked at her, realizing the seriousness in her tone. He took a deep breath, preparing himself for whatever conversation they were about to have. "We're drifting apart, John. I feel like we're roommates, not husband and wife," Sarah confessed. Her heart was pounding as the words came out, but she needed to say them. John didn't respond immediately. He leaned back on the couch, staring up at the ceiling. "I know," he finally admitted. "I've felt it too, but I don't know what to do about it. We're both so tired all the time. I get that we're exhausted. I really do. But we have to try harder. We can't lose each other in all of this," Sarah said, her voice breaking slightly. John turned to her, his expression softening. "I don't want to lose you either," he said quietly. I don't know where to start." They sat in silence, the weight of their words hanging in the air. The house was quiet except for the soft hum of the baby monitor on the coffee table, In the distance, they could hear Emily stirring in her crib, a gentle reminder of the new life they were responsible for. Chapter 3. Rekindling the Spark. The next morning, Sarah woke up with a plan. They needed to reconnect, to find a way back to each other. She knew it wasn't going to be easy, but she was determined to try. After breakfast, while John was still getting ready for work, Sarah handed him a small envelope. "What's this?" he asked, curious. "Open it." She smiled. John tore open the envelope to find a note inside that simply read, "Dinner tonight, just the two of us. 7 p.m. He looked up at her, a smile spreading across his face. "Are you serious?"